Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to our activities. This is the last session of today, session 3. It's about NRENs, the global updates. I'm Raed Al-Zoubi. I'm working with Hassan in the area of open science and open access and library initiative. Today we will have our distinguished speakers who represent NRENs and regional research and educational networks, Internet too as well. And we'll try our best to be brief as much as we can, so we compensate our being lagging on the program. First, please allow me to invite Dr. Majid Al-Sadeq. He's the Director of Egyptian National Scientific and Technical Information Network in Egypt. Please, the stage is yours.
Good afternoon. My name is Majid Al-Sadeq, the Director of Egyptian National STI Network. I will try to just highlight on the kind of accomplishment and achievements for our NREN as an example of the theme of the event, which is taking NRENs further. And this is what the countries gain when they are really investing and taking the NRENs further. The NREN, the Egyptian NREN started with two NOCs, the EUN, the Egyptian Universities Network, who are really taking care of the universities, and the ENSTINET, which is taking care of research centers. And like about 8 years ago, we have managed to connect both NOCs together as to form the initial NRENs. And 3 years ago, we managed to, with the help and the cooperation with the Ministry of Education, to connect to this same NREN 3,000 basic education secondary schools to the same network. Also, we are connected. We managed to connect the student tablets or student devices, about 1.9 million student devices connected to the same NREN network to consume the services that we will get into in the few slides coming later. And the Global Research and Education Network, the Academy through the ENSTINET managed to fund for about, since late 2010, managed to fund connections to both GÉANT network and another one to Internet too. So, and we are providing this free of charge to the entire research and education community in Egypt. We are providing this service to every single university connected to the NREN and to research centers, and indeed now to the basic education sector as well, to consume the learning management system contents and the educational digital learning objects. We started first by developing a data center, a kind of S&T grid and cloud computing center, and it's directly connected to the NREN network and hosting the Egyptian Knowledge Bank. Egyptian Knowledge Bank is one of the largest digital libraries worldwide. It contains about 31 publishers and over 120 databases over this platform. And we are honored to cooperate and in terms of hosting and operating the platform. We have also the National S&T repository and the hosting of the National Publishing Platform, which is an open access initiative by Egyptian government. Research Information Management Platform as well is hosted over this data center. National Learning Management System serving from the basic education and now even extended to the higher education. STEM and Curriculum Connect contents for the STEM schools. Egyptian Innovation Bank as well, and high performance computing for Egyptian Genome Project. Big data research performance analytics as well hosted over this data center. We started back in 2009 for supporting the transformation to the open access. We tried to help some of the Egyptian journals to be published internationally, and we have like 4 agreements, one with Elsevier, Lapincut, Medno, and Taylor and Francis to like upgrade a group of Egyptian journals in a trial to enhance the ranking of universities and different institutions in Egypt. This is back to in 2009. And this exercise actually helped a lot of journals, about 86 journals, to be upgraded and to be indexed internationally in different indexes like Scopus and Web of Science. And most importantly, it actually added to our experiences and our expertise to be able to develop our own national publishing platform, which is actually define the ecosystem of the open access publishing platform in Egypt. Through this project, it's a joint project between Egyptian Knowledge Bank Initiative and ASRT, and we are managed through 3 years only to host and publish 854 journals with over than 260,000 articles, and this yields about 80 million downloads over the course of the 3 years worldwide. It's a true open access platform, and we are very proud of this platform. It's a complete editorial management system following the international standards of the publishing and peer reviewing and everything. And by then, we have managed to have this kind of roadmap of upgrading the journals in Egypt, starting with the initiative of the local publishing with over 260,000 articles and about 684,000 researchers collaborated over those research, and this is the true open science platform. Then the agreement was made now with over 14,000 articles published, and another agreement was taken in France with about 1,000 articles published, and with Elsevier about another 14,000. And we managed to have over 60 journals to be indexed in Web of Science, and another 65 in Scopus, and about 12 with Impact Factor, and over 650 journals to be indexed in WACREN, or the Directory of Open Access Journals. And this really made a real difference in the Egyptian ranking system. The publishing platform, we managed to add some artificial intelligence and smart features to our publishing platforms. It makes it even more, let's say, distinguished than the international editorial management system. We have over 65 automated checks that help the author to publish their article. We have like word reduction services, keyword suggestions, basic language editing services, reference style check, and even journal recommendation, where from the 800 plus journals, the author can just submit his article to the recommendation engine, and it will actually suggest the right journal for his article, so he can really submit to the right journal to make the real impact to the journal itself and to the article as well. We managed to link this to the Google Scholar, and this again added to the citation impacts of this platform. And this is some statistics that shows how Egypt really developed very fast in the last 7 to 8 years. And now Egypt is on top of the Middle East area for the open access articles. We have around 36% of the Egyptian articles now in open access, let's say, format or form. Also, in terms of SDG measurement, we have about 48% of the articles that is related to the SDGs is also in open access form, where we have the SDG 7, 3, and 13 are making the majority of the papers, which is the climate change and renewable energy and health and good life. This is a recognition by a University World News. This is published back in May 2022, which shows that the platform really reaping the fruits. Egypt, for the second year, are on top of the African countries in SCImago Index. And now we are ranked 26 worldwide out of 232 countries. And this is the highest rank ever achieved by African country, by the way. And this is for the second year. Egypt is also dominating 16 subject areas, including medicine, engineering, chemistry, across Africa. So we are now starting like from 2016, our rank was 41 worldwide. We are now 26 worldwide, thanks to the platforms and to the open access platform that we are managing and serving the community with. Also, in terms of Egyptian universities' world ranking, this is a Time Higher Education university ranking, and you can see that back in 2016, we have only 3 universities ranked worldwide. And now, this year, we have 40 universities, about 13 times more than back in 2016. And this, again, thanks to the services of the National Publishing Platform and the initiative of Egyptian Knowledge Bank. So this is the Egyptian Knowledge Bank, a highlight on the Egyptian Knowledge Bank. Again, it provides 31 publishers, 120 databases, with over 2.3 million visitors per month. That's the Egyptian Knowledge Bank interface, by the way. It's consisting of 4 different subportals. We have a subportal for the public users, and one for the university professionals and students, one for basic education and students, and even one for the children from the contents that we are serving over the Egyptian Knowledge Bank. It features a federated search engine, a very powerful one that serve as a one-stop search for all the contents served over the Egyptian Knowledge Bank. This is like more customizations of the search, where the user can like select by subject category, by publisher, you name it. They have the full services, search services and flexibility of search services. National Learning Management System. With the education reform initiative and with our help and like support with the Ministry of Education, we managed to host and operate the LMS Learning Management System platform that served the secondary schools. And last year, statistics shows 426 million pages viewed by 1.9 million students from the secondary schools. We also, during the pandemic, partnered with the Ministry of Education as to deliver another platform called Study for the other grades, like the primary grades and preparatory as well. And it served 22 million students, and it served 460 million pages views. All the platforms are actually based on open access, open source, open to facilitate open science and open education. We also adopting the open metrics as well, and support the open innovation platform through what's so-called Egyptian Innovation Bank. Again, it's all based on open source platforms, and supporting it. We also support the informal education part through the Children's University at the Academy, are actually running this initiative in Egypt. Our regional contribution is Arabic Citation Index. Arabic Citation Index is one of the regional indexes that provided by the Web of Science. Clarivate Analytics managed to create like a Latin American regional index, and one for the Korean language and one for the Chinese language. And the Arabic Citation Index is funded by the Egyptian government as to help in putting the Arabic literature on the global map of research and enable the global collaboration. We also provide English bibliographic information to be translated in English as to be posted over the Web of Science. And this really make a real difference for the Arabic S&T literature published to be visible and on the global map. And this, the Arabic Citation Index managed to have about 562 periodicals to be indexed in the last year. And we are helping, and we are proud that our team is helping in the process of evaluation of those journals to be indexed over the Arabic Citation Index with the Clarivate Analytics. Open Social Innovation. Again, this is the Egyptian Innovation Bank, another platform that we are proud to launch and host as well. It serves as a comprehensive searchable database of innovations. a comprehensive database of innovation enablers in Egypt, an interactive map of an incubator. It serves as a marketplace for the innovators to like promote their innovations. Sure. And then we have another project, and for the Egyptian genome, we are providing the high performance capacity for the Egyptian genome project that will help in forming the Egyptian Genome Center and early diagnosis and prediction of most common diseases, personalized medicine, and gene therapy as well. And we are the place of operating the high performance computing for this project. A sneak peek on a big data research analytics platform. This will be launched by March, by the way. And we, for years and for decades, all the Arab world and even African world are actually being measured, their research performance being measured only by the internationally published articles. But for the local articles, none of those are really measured or assessed. The sheer size of the locally published articles is really growing in an exponential way, and it needs to be measured. Accordingly, we are proud that we launching a big data platform to actually build on top of the national publishing platform that hosts now about 300,000 articles, to start providing the same assessments that is done through Scopus, through Web of Science, and like generate those H-index for our authors, even for the local literature, not only for the international, and also to provide like, let's say, evaluate the journals, the Egyptian journals, locally hosted journals and locally published journals in terms of the field-weighted citations and the impact and SAT score as well. And this will help in domain expert discovery, fact-based accreditation, drive interdisciplinary research as well. This is some screens of the journal analysis ranking that will be launched by next March for the Egyptian platform. And this is an expert finder platform that helps us to build our national committees and national networks from the real experts with evidence-based from the research outputs, both local and international. Organization benchmarking. We now can benchmark the organizations and different institutions not only on their internationally published articles, but as well in the entire research outputs, even the local part. That's what we have done through the last 3 years, and that's what happened when the government actually enable and empower the local NRENs. Thank you.
Is from GÉANT. GÉANT has been always supporting to AfREN and the NRENs and other partners in the projects in the region. Helga Spitaler, she is the Senior International Relation Project Manager at GÉANT. Please.
Thank you very much for a good introduction. So after the account from our Egyptian colleague, I now invite you to mentally cross the Mediterranean and to find out what's happening in Europe, which is the stomping ground, so to speak, of my own organization, GÉANT. So what is GÉANT? It's a membership association for the national European research and education networks, representing over 40 NRENs across Europe. We are fundamentally, or basically, the European counterparts to AfREN, which is the Arab regional organization. We operate a pan-European network which interconnects the NRENs among each other and the rest of the world. We also manage a portfolio of value-added services on top of the connectivity, dedicated for research and education, and they're usually prefixed by EDO. So you have Rome, GÉANT, VPN, and so on. And we are community-driven. So we really foster open discussion, open knowledge exchange, collaboration, among our members and the wider communities in task forces, working groups. And once a year, like AfREN here at e-AGE, once a year, GÉANT brings the global community together at TNC. We also coordinate and participate in EU-funded projects, primarily the GÉANT project, which allows us basically to deliver on whatever I've pointed out here to the right of the slide. But we're also involved in other EU funding programs. And as a member of the international relations team at GÉANT, for nearly 20 years, I have been privileged being involved in regional projects which aim to foster research and education networking development in other parts of the world. And here in the AfREN region, primarily Africa Connect and UMEC Connect. And if we look at this global connectivity map, I think it's fair to say that GÉANT is really at the heart of global research and education networking. So we procure links to other regions as part of these regional networking projects. We team up, we cost share for global partners, for circuits. We procure our own intercontinental connections, and we peer with global partners that bring their own capacity into Europe. So that is at the moment primarily also the case with our partner countries in the Gulf region. So as far as our strategy and vision and mission are concerned, GÉANT and its members set out to really deliver an information ecosystem of infrastructure and services to advance global research, education, and innovation. And we also have the ambition to be future-proof, to future-proof our own offering, and to keep establishing ourselves as trusted enabler for our communities, and also a partner of choice for our members and our funders. But let's have a look at the GÉANT network, because I'm supposed to give an update in this session. I invite you to cast your mind back 20 years ago to 2001, shortly before I started. At the time, we connected roughly 30 NRENs across Europe, and the latest DWDM technologies allowed us to operate at speeds of 10 gigabits per second. And at the time, this was really one of the most advanced networks in the world. 20 years on, though, I would say the picture is quite different. The backbone has just undergone the most significant refresh in a decade, and now sees the majority of GÉANT NRENs connected on fiber or spectrum on IRU terms for 15 years. And this allows really fairly priced connectivity across the whole of Europe, and also predictable pricing for the members and for their users. And the result is a really robust network. So the network, over the network, on a daily basis, 7 petabytes of data being carried. It's also very reliable, and it's future-proof, because now we don't talk about 10 gigabits per second anymore. We talk about services of hundreds of gigabits per second that are available over the core backbone, and with a network design that is able to carry up to 8 terabit per second. So really ahead of future user demand. And as we have heard today in the announcements, in the AfREN region there is also something very exciting coming up, and AfREN has now the opportunity, together with the NRENs, particularly in the first instance in North Africa, to replicate something like that, what we have done in GÉANT with Medusa. And GÉANT and myself, we look forward to accompanying AfREN and the NRENs on that journey. Shukran.
Saoussen, Krichen, the director of Al-Khawarizmi, the NREN of Tunisia. Please, this is yours.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I will speak in English, I think. I will present the computing center Al-Khawarizmi, which is the internet and cloud service provider in the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research. I will speak about our current projects, Tunisian Observatory, which gives some numbers about our institutions, about the state of the ministry now, the state of the infrastructure, and our future projects. So let's start with our current projects. We have done 4 versions of our national réseau national universitaire, which is our NREN, if you want. So we moved from the ADSL to the optical fiber, and we moved from 200 institutions connected to 450 institutions which are connected to CCK. So here in numbers, our national university network includes 14 universities. We have 203 and it becomes just now 206 institutions in higher education and scientific research, 8 general directions. There are 3 offices, one in the north, one in the south, and one in the center of Tunisia. We have some restaurants and hostings, and the main here internet requirement comes from the 40 research centers. So here first dispatching of the internet bandwidth of our institutions. So the speed moves from 50 megabytes to 200, let's say, and more 400 just now for our ministry and the general directions. So the total number in public institutions is about 260,000 students, which is dispatched on 66% women and the rest is men. So we are proud of this number. Here for the number of teaching staff, we have about 25,000 teaching staff from assistant professors, assistant professors, associate professors, and full professors. And here is the dispatching of the whole staff, the whole teaching staff. For the human resources here, we have about a rate of supervision, which is about 11%, which is very interesting, a very interesting rate. Here we speak about our graduate students, which are about each year about 50,000 students dispatched also on males and females. So as follows, as usual. And here about the scientific research staff in Tunisia. We have about, let's say, 560 research units and laboratories that provide the third position among the Arabic countries after Egypt and after Saudi. For the infrastructure now, we are concentrated on the total service of optical fiber, the storage in terms of using a data center and using a cloud specifically dedicated to the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research. We have also a private cloud for our national applications, which is located in CCK, which is very new now this year. So we have a private cloud and a public cloud for websites and so on. The access to resources is via VPN SSL. We have for the security now a process of firewalling in order to for the data. We have an emailing process, the backup of data also, and the web hosting. For the infrastructure, rapidly, we are about implementing an information system for the whole Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research based on artificial intelligence mainly. So we are about now to implement the EduGAIN, and we are about 50% in progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saoussen. Our next speaker is from Moroccan NREN, MARWAN, Dr. Aziz Ettahir. He is the head of Mutualisation Department at CNRST. Please.
أنا غادي نتكلم بالعربية.
Please go ahead.
قبل أن نبتدئ عرضي المختصر أريد أن أستغل هذه الفرصة لأرفع علم بلدي بكل فخر واعتزاز، متمنيا لفريقنا الوطني العزيز الانتصار والمجد إن شاء الله. جبتو. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السيدات والسادة، كل واحد باسمه بمقامه وموقعه وكلكم مقام. يسعدني بصفتي مدير قطب التعاضد بالمركز الوطني للبحث العلمي والتقني بالمغرب، ونيابة عن السيدة المديرة أن أقدم باختصار نبذة سريعة وعامة عن الوحدة ضمن هذا القطب التي تهتم بتطوير البنايات التحتية الإلكترونية على الصعيد الوطني والمعروفة باسم مروان. وسيقوم زميلي حسن بوحدو بتقديم التفاصيل التقنية والمستجدات بخصوص الشبكة. نساعدك. راية حمراء والنجمة خضراء،
ولازم النجمة تظهر.
هذه الوحدة مروان قامت بتطوير مشروعين أساسيين أصبح اليوم من الدعائم الأساسية للبحث العلمي بالمغرب. المشروع الأول هو الشبكة الوطنية للبحث العلمي مروان، وهي الشبكة التي تربط جميع المؤسسات والجامعات والتي يبلغ عددها أكثر من 240 مؤسسة. ويتم هذا الربط عبر مجموع من خطوط الألياف الضوئية ذات الصبيب العالي الذي يصل إلى ميجا إلى 110 جيجا بايت في الثانية. كما تمكن هذه الشبكة الجامعات والمؤسسات من الحصول على خدمة الإنترنت. ومن مميزات شبكة مروان هو ارتباطها بالشبكات الأكاديمية العالمية مثل الشبكة العربية AfREN والأوروبية GÉANT، الشيء الذي يمكن الجامعات والباحثين المغاربة من المشاركة في مشاريع علمية دولية ضخمة. بالإضافة إلى هذا، ورغم الإمكانيات المادية والبشرية المحدودة، فإن شبكة مروان تقدم لمستعمليها أغلب الخدمات الإلكترونية المقدمة من طرف مثيلاتها في الدول المتقدمة ذات الإمكانيات الضخمة، والتي منها على سبيل المثال EduROM, TCS, EduVPN, EduGANT وغيرها. أما المشروع الثاني الذي طورته وحدة مروان فهو مشروع مركز الحوسبة عالية الأداء المعروف اختصارا ب-HPC. هذا المشروع الذي عرف نجاحا وإقبالا كبيرين يمكن جميع الباحثين المغاربة من الولوج عن بعد والحصول على إمكانيات الحوسبة والتخزين الضرورية لإنجاز بحوثهم العلمية. وتوفر هذه البنية 1672 معالج CPU بقدرة حوسبة تبلغ 122 تيرا فلوبس، وسعة تخزين تبلغ حوالي 400 تيرا بايت، بالإضافة لتوفيرها لأكثر من 300 تطبيق ذات المصدر المفتوح. وفي الأخير وليس بالأخير، أتمنى باسم المركز كل التوفيق والنجاح الدائم لهذا المؤتمر، وكذلك لفريقنا الوطني الحبيب. ديما مغرب سير.
شكرا جزيلا. If you please briefly do your part, because Mr. Aziz took all the time.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. MARWAN is a department under CNRST, the National Center for Scientific and Technical Research, which is under Higher Education Ministry. CNRST helps university to do research. There are many departments. I mentioned here two departments, UATRS for sharing heavy equipment for chemistry, biology, and medical science, and ENST, access to technical and scientific information by hosting some local journal and subscribing to international journal like Scopus, Science Direct, Web of Science. There will be tomorrow a presentation by my colleague, remotely by my colleague Hisham, to explain, to show services of ENST and strategy of open science. MARWAN is infrastructure and e-service to our universities. We offer connectivity. As said by my colleague Aziz, we manage also HPC MARWAN. We offer service like EduROM, EduGAN, Identity Federation, which is member of EduGAN, and we offer TCS, digital certificate, to our universities. Also EduVPN service. MARWAN founded in 1998. It's NREN to provide connectivity to Moroccan universities, offer federated services, increase exchange between universities, connect a regional network to facilitate universities in participation in international scientific collaboration, and of course to reduce the global cost of the connectivity. This is evolution of MARWAN network. Now it is in its fifth version. There is difference between each version by offered service, capacity, bandwidth, and quality service. Of course, also funding mechanism. This is a comparison between evolutions. We see that there is bandwidth increase, budget increase. If we compare MARWAN 4 and MARWAN 5, we double the bandwidth just by adding a quarter of budget. But unfortunately, the staff decrease.
1 minute, please.
MARWAN cover all Moroccan territory. We serve to 1 million of students. This is the topology of MARWAN. We offer connectivity between 100 to 10 gigabit per second. We have two connections to the internet, one at Naraba city and the other one in Casablanca city. And we are connected to AfREN via 1 gigabit per second. Yeah, we use SD1 as technology on the backbone to have more internet capacity at a lower cost and to diversify connectivity failovers. If in addition to the main connectivity to MARWAN, university could have other connection with other operators. If the MARWAN link goes down, they could use other links to as breakouts. They have the connectivity to AfREN. We offer IPv6, multicast. We host some caches like Google Cache and Facebook to save the internet bandwidth. Also, we host some mirroring for software, open source for software, and we host the DNS iRoute for resolving DNS. As I said, we are a member of GÉANT. The second project is very used by our PhD students and professors. It's a succeed project. We have now about 1,000 users and with about 300 applications in different fields, physics, mathematics, internet intelligence, artificial intelligence. We monitor all links, all MARWAN links. This is the supervision of HPC. It shows the running and waiting jobs. Also, we monitor all links, also caches and mirror. Future prospects, we will deploy a lot of services at the universities. We will have also ASN from AfREN ASN number for each university to have autonomy to get connection from other operators. About link to AfREN, in the next year, 2023, we will increase this link to 10 gigabit per second. This is required for the CERN2 data center in the University Mohamed VI in the city, in Ben Gurion city. to participate to CERN. They have a big HPC and they want to be tier 3 to be part of CERN HPC. For Medusa, we will send a questionnaire to every university to know, to identify the project that use GÉANT link and or they will use GÉANT link to quantify the bandwidth of this link and to increase the bandwidth to the university to MARWAN network. For HPC we will increase because now more than 90% of HPC is used. We will increase the capacity next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hassan. Our next speaker is Dr. Boubakar Bary. He is the CEO of WACREN. WACREN is AfREN partner in projects and initiatives in the region.
Thank you, Chair. The MARWAN colleague, you forgot your flag here. Unfortunately, I cannot put the Senegal flag because we are out of the tournament.
Oh, you can still use You're African.
We will support Morocco this evening, and we know we can beat France. Okay, thank you, Chair. Mr. Chair, I will be very brief. I know we are running out of time. I will just talk very quickly in 2 slides about AfREN. AfREN is actually just a collaboration platform between the 3 regional RENs, that cover Africa, namely Ubuntu Alliance for Eastern and Southern Africa, WACREN West and Central Africa, and AfREN Northern Africa. So it's a collaboration platform, and as was said during the presentation on Africa Connect 3, each of the 3 regional RENs is a conglomerate of national research education network in the region served. So AfREN was actually established, let's say, it's informal, it's a collaboration platform, but the first AfREN meeting took place in Abuja in 2007 during the annual AfREN-AFNOC meeting. And this was supported at that time by the Association of African Universities, the African Capacity Building Foundation, the Ford Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, and Carnegie Corporation of New York, and of course IDRC, the International Development Research Center. So we have an AfREN Day at each annual conference of the Africa Internet Summit. And during that day, actually, we have capacity building. Normally, before that day, it's preceded by a capacity building workshop, for NREN engineers. And then we have a 1-day policy development meeting and experience sharing. So it's an informal platform, so it's a loose organization for coordination of activities of the 3 regional RENs. But now we are thinking actually for quite a while now about formalizing this collaboration platform that will maybe allow us together to submit proposals, to seek grants, etc., because we will have a legal framework to work with. So the recent activities we had together is actually on advocacy. As you all know, we had big challenges during COVID because we were all deploying our networks, extending the capacities of our backbones, and we were really counting on government supports. But as you know, during COVID, priorities shifted. There were more resources for health, more resources to help enterprises, etc., etc. So our activities slowed down during COVID. And we are actually still struggling, to get the pace, we had, before COVID. So we are doing some activities on advocacy to really make government understand, the usefulness of NRENs and get more support in order to get more countries connected. And during that period, actually, we showed how important, a proper and adequate infrastructure is important, because during that lockdown, hundreds of universities was closed, and to those countries who have NRENs and the proper infrastructure were able to continue pedagogical activities. We do also capacity building regularly. And you must know that even after COVID now, we have an increased use of the infrastructure. We do more trainings using webinars, etc. And there is an explosion of demand of video conferencing services. We provide connectivity, of course, but also several services to the higher education and research communities. I think there were several examples today with GÉANT and with the NREN of Cyprus. During the pandemic, of course, as I said, we were not able to connect more NRENs to our backbones, but the process resumed after the opening of borders and the lift of travel bans. So we worked mainly together in the framework of Africa Connect 3, and we are also preparing the implementation of the project towards Africa Connect 4. All these projects are funded by the European Commission, and for the support of NREN backbone upgrades and expert as development of new services. So we still peer in Europe, mainly the 3 regional RENs. That means that we meet in Europe, but we are working now to really try to peer within the continent so that the traffic doesn't have to go to Europe before going from one region to the other. So I made this short presentation on behalf also of my colleagues, Youssef and Madara, who are here. If you want more information about WACREN, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Boubakar, for this brief and enlightening presentation. Our next speaker is Mr. Mohamed Ahmed. He's the president of Jamhuriya University of Science and Technology in Somalia. He will be representing SomaliREN. Please.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. I know it is very late and it was a very long day, so I will be very quick and short in my presentation. Regarding the updates of SomaliREN, we have a new CEO who was appointed in November this year, and we also have the board and the General Assembly. SomaliREN has over 28 member universities and research institutions. We have 3 key pillars. The first pillar was connectivity, the second is services and content, and the final one is the community. In the first years of establishment, we were struggling with the connectivity, and we are still struggling with it, but we have started to focus on other pillars as well. We have now 11 e-infrastructure services successfully deployed on top of the connectivity. We have joined the EDU room. We have also established the SomaliREN Identity Federation. We are now a candidate for EDU GÉANT, and we have also fully operationalized or deployed the Somali Digital Repository, which is a multi-institutional digital repository, SORER, which I will discuss in detail tomorrow. And SomaliREN also offers direct engineering assistance to the member institutions in establishing their network infrastructure or upgrading them. We have 3 communities which are active. The oldest one is SOMNOC, Somali Network Operators Group, and we also have a community of librarians, university librarians, and also the community of researchers. This is a very quick snapshot of the services that SomaliREN offers to its member institutions currently. Among them, the EDU Home, the video conferencing platform, which is a very successful platform that has helped a lot of students and faculty during the COVID-19 to shift from traditional teaching and learning to online. We also have the Indico, which is an event management platform that the member institutions use for organizing the conferences, the research conferences. We also have the SORAR, which is the digital repository I was talking about earlier, the SomaliREN Identity Federation, and many more. Now, SomaliREN connects 50 campuses around the country, which are divided into 3 different zones. The South Zone, which is the biggest one, containing most of the universities in the capital city of Mogadishu. We also have another zone in Puntland and another zone in Somaliland. They are not connected to each other now, but the services are replicated in every zone. SomaliREN is a very key member of regional NRENs, whether it is AfREN or UbuntuNet Alliance. We are trying to help others also to the formation of new NRENs in Mauritius, in South Sudan, and we are also now helping Djibouti to form their own NREN. We are also contributing to the technical aspect of the capacity building activities for our colleagues in the other NRENs. We have, of course, challenges and obstacles. The first one is the funding. We also have challenges in the growth, government role in promoting the NREN agenda, and we also have a challenge in terms of connectivity, that these 3 zones are not fully connected to each other. We have many areas to collaborate on, including the connectivity, the human capital development and capacity building, and supporting the communities of practice in the NRENs. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohamed. Our next speaker will be Dr. Yusuf Asfour. He is the Chief Information and Technology Officer at the AUP at Lebanon. Please.
Thank you, everyone. I'll try to be quick. In many ways, I'll be talking about TechCare, the Lebanese NREN. In many ways, it's very similar to other NRENs, but in others, it's very different as well. In fact, back in 2011, Lebanon tried to set up an NREN the traditional way. The universities and the research community really wanted to do the NREN, but we had all kinds of challenges. I won't go into the details of those, but if you're interested, I'll give you later. So what we ended up doing is creating a different kind of NREN. The NREN is different in 3 different ways. In the sense, first, its governance is actually, it's a collaboration. In fact, we call it Technology Collaboration Agreement for Research and Education, therefore TechCare, as opposed to being an actual organization. So we have a bunch of universities working all together, and the governance is really purely democratic. Everything is done by almost consensus. Services are optional, and people can opt in to use those services or not, but the resources are also part of the university as well. So the universities contribute resources as well. The funding really is self-funded by the universities. There are some basic fees they have to pay so that we can pay for those basic services, but the rest of them are on a service-by-service level, service-by-service option. And where we become more similar to other universities is that we have very similar NRENs, we have very similar services. So what we started off with was 3 universities, and very quickly we grew into 9 universities, which are 9 out of the 11 top universities in Lebanon. So the NREN model worked very well and very quickly, and we ended up delivering the basic services that other NRENs provide. We started up thanks to AfREN and GÉANT. We now have a 5 gigabit per second connection to Europe. But we also have the basic services like EduRoam Life, which is the federated access, and then we also have the certificates, and we also have a network. And by the way we did that network is by building the community and collaborating together, we were able to negotiate with our ISPs, and I love to say that we got our network and our backbone for free. So match that, everyone. So, however, as we started doing everything else, we got hit by the perfect storm. Everybody complains about COVID. All I can say, that's half the problem. We also had a revolution going on at the same time. And in fact, we had a total economic collapse. And because of that, we ended up with many problems, including the funding dried up. But more importantly, we had a major brain drain in Lebanon. In fact, between the revolution, the economic collapse, and the Beirut explosion that many of you heard of, some of our colleagues even heard it in Cyprus, we lost many resources. Many people left Lebanon. And then, of course, the infrastructure and the daily needs are just surviving in Lebanon is becoming a challenge. But despite all of that, we continue to build on the community. We continue to do collaboration. And our latest one is the collaboration with CERN. Our colleagues here are talking about being Tier 2. We're hoping to become a Tier 2 center for CERN as well. But right now, we're about a Tier 3. We have a collaboration with the CMS project at CERN. But in collaboration with the universities and the public and private sector, along with the funding from generous donors, such as the French government and Tamari Foundation and Indoxia, we were able to get some funds, get an HPC donated to Lebanon, and created what we call the HPC for Lebanon project. That project actually is a collaboration between both the public sector and the private sector. In the public sector, we have basically, which is the public university in Lebanon, along with the government and the Ministry of Telecom, we're able to provide free connectivity, hosting, and a free data center and power to host the HPC. The HPC was donated by CERN. The public sector provides the hosting and the connectivity. And then the private sector, which is really the universities, which is really TechCare, provides everything else. So TechCare now, or the collaboration of universities, are providing the system administration, the user interfaces, and the on-call technical support. By doing all this, we're busy now building this through TechCare volunteers. Like I said, TechCare doesn't have resources. The resources you see here are from the different universities. And basically, so what we do is, Ogero, our telecom provider, provided the data center, and then the universities provide the resources 2 days a week to get this up and running. And we're aiming actually for, in April, inauguration of the system. So moving forward, we're looking to launch the HPC for Lebanon project. We're always seeking more funding like everybody else, although we were able to build the NREN for free. And we're also looking to work with the government and work with some of the collaborators here, like GÉANT, like AfREN, like the EU, to help us maybe convince our government to change the legislation so that we can have better connectivity. And one of our biggest challenges really is retaining talent in Lebanon. So that's my update. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yusuf. Our next speaker is Mr. Jonathan Jambem. He's the Senior Advisor at Global Engagement Internet 2 from the United States. Please.
Good afternoon. Jonathan Chapman, John Chapman with Internet 2. Given a brief update on Internet 2. We are the NREN of the United States. When one looks at it, we're actually sort of an NREN and a bit of a GÉANT because we connect a lot of our regionals as well. We're a community, we're member-driven, and we're member-supported, and we're completely member-funded. And our objective is supporting research, higher education, government entities, and cultural organizations. Community looking at the three core support components of networking, cloud, and security, all of which these days are taking high priority in everybody's mind. There's a whole bunch of numbers here that I could go through, but core to this is we have 320 plus higher education institutions that are members, 50 plus industry, and our 46 regionals. So obviously the United States has much more than 320 universities, but how that is served is that the regionals, which are primarily state by state, they connect institutions within their particular state or region. Those institutions then connect or have the facility through that regional connection into Internet 2, which then expands their exposure out to the world. We have partnerships and research and associations with more than 100 countries. And our capacities right now are running at about 32 terabits per second on each of our links. More sort of numbers here, core to this, and I'll be talking about our next generation internet, which has been our primary focus now. But that's now brought us to having a capacity of 400 to 800 gigabits per second on our optical layers with the new hardware and infrastructure that's been established. We have a port capacity of up to 16 petabits per second, but more importantly, right now, we are seeing approximately or more than 7 petabytes of data per day move across our networks. So definitely a very important part for us was being able to support that type of capacity. Oops. So I mentioned the next generation internet and our next generation infrastructure. So for the last few years, Internet 2's focus has been on a project called the Next Generation Infrastructure. It's been much like what occurred in Europe with GÉANT. We've had a major upgrade on our backbones and the infrastructure that supports our network. That's allowed us to see increased capacity, but even more importantly, it's allowed us to bring automation into the way we manage this. Project began in 2016, and we are reaching the end of the project now as all of the major components are in place and in operation. The objectives were to address the issues of data-intensive research, cloud access, needed that software-driven infrastructure so that we can bring automation into play here, needed sustainable economics, so we had to be able to know that we could keep this undergoing through the years to come, and core to that was infrastructure sharing. This is a map of what our new next generation infrastructure has. You'll notice a variety of dots around the countryside, and those are our major points of cross-connection and linkages. But it was in order to make this practical and functional for the long term and cost-effective, it was very important that we actually brought in automation, where before we used to configure everything by hand, and with people sitting there at the equipment doing the programming. Now most of this can be done through automation, and everything is accessed through a product of Cisco's called the network software orchestrator, and through that we're able to manage everything, and we are no longer logging in directly into equipment. This also improves your security a lot. Cloud, everybody's been talking about cloud for years. We've been it's been a driving force for Internet 2 for many, 10 years or more now of linking in with the cloud providers. Through our peer exchanges, various peer exchanges across the country, we have connection into a wide variety of cloud services for our user community. Examples are Zoom and Office 365. But we also have some direct infrastructure peerings and what we call direct connects going into the core cloud service providers of Amazon, Azure, with Microsoft, the Google Cloud, and Oracle. We also have a capability now of allowing us to do some private interconnects, and those can be brought up and cut down and then discontinued as and when necessary. And this is again a benefit of the automation and the software management. So our support for a cloud looks in all these various areas. But the networking, workforce development, so we also assist our users by various workshops and other training and development opportunities. We have our Net Plus services that assists in the procurement process and allows us to do some bulk approaches to various providers for bulk purchasing, and research and science for the computing professionals. Now, of course, here I am, I'm speaking outside of the United States, so core importance, of course, is also our global networking. I mentioned that we had more than 100 collaborating countries with us, and of that, there's 65 that have connections of some type with us to the United States. Either that is by direct circuits into our exchanges, or through connections to some of the exchanges in other parts of the world that are then connected to the Internet 2 exchanges in the U.S. Partnerships of note that I'd like to mention is in the Pacific. We have the Guam-Singapore Connectivity Consortium, and you'll see that we have, whoops, let me get addressed here, and we have 6 partners there that we work ourselves, and 5 other partners that we work with on that particular project. Then we have the Atlantic Pacific Exchange and Research and Education Exchange. This is a pilot between Internet 2 and the Pacific Wave, which is itself a consortium of the Pacific Northwest Gigapop and CNRST. The objective here is to facilitate improved connectivity from the east to the west and vice versa across the United States. So we've got our subsea cables landing on the west coast. We've got all of our cables and partnerships that are landing on the east coast. And very often we had noted that the problem was getting the traffic between the two sides. So this is a collaboration pilot that's going on right now that we are looking at then building into something more long-term. The Advanced North Atlantic Partnership with a variety of NRENs, North America and into Europe, so GÉANT and NORDINET on the European side, as well as SURFNet. And then in North America, we have CANARY, which is the Canadian NREN, the ESNet in the United States, and Internet 2. and an NSF funded project with Indiana University, which is called the NEAR, and this is forget what it basically is research in connecting across multiple countries and multiple continents. And then finally, in the Asia Pacific, we have the Oceania Network, and there is 12 partners there working together to provide connectivity around and across the Pacific. And with that, I'd like to, after a hiatus of a few years, I would like to invite you to join us in Internet 2 with our next community exchange in May, being hosted in Atlanta, Georgia. The calls of participation have already closed, or these are the themes that we are looking for there. With that, thank you very much.
Mr. Jonathan, for the presentation and for the invitation as well. Our next speaker is Dr. Boubakar Abdelkader. He's the CEO of SomaliREN, the Sudanese NREN.
Good afternoon, everybody. And before I begin, I would like to thank the chairperson and AfREN for hosting us today. And second of all, I would like to allow me to introduce and present this paper using Arabic language because I love my mother tongue. And I'm quite convinced that the development of a nation is based on their usage of their mother tongue language. So excuse me, I will use Arabic language. And for بالنسبة لي التحديث عن SomaliREN قمنا بإعداد ورقة علمية معي الباشمهندس وليد محمد المبارك والباشمهندس الطيب أبو كساوي. الورقة تناولت شبكات البحث والتعليم، الإمكانيات، الخدمات، التحديات والفرص. تمت دراسة حالة بشبكة البحث والتعليم السودانية. طيب هذه الورقة تهدف إلى دراسة الإمكانات والخدمات والتحديات والفرص المتاحة في شبكات البحث العلمي والتعليم بدراسة حالة شبكة البحث والتعليم السودانية SomaliREN. في هذه الدراسة قام الباحثون بجمع البيانات الخاصة بشبكات التعليم والبحث في الدول النظيرة عن البنيات التحتية، أعداد المشتركين، الخدمات، التحديات والفرص المتاحة لشبكة البحث والتعليم، حيث قام الباحثون بإجراء دراسة مقارنة comparative study باستخدام البيانات التي تم جمعها عن SomaliREN ومقارنتها مع البيانات التي تم جمعها عن الشبكات النظيرة. In briefly, what we have done is we have done a comparative study. We collect data from the different NRENs in Arab region and Africa, and then we compare it with the SomaliREN so that we can check where SomaliREN is. طيب شبكة البحث والتعليم السودانية SomaliREN كما هو يظهر هي تعمل في 2 داتا سنتر. الداتا سنتر الأول موجود في وزارة التعليم العالي والبحث العلمي، والداتا سنتر الثاني موجود في جامعة السودان علوم والتكنولوجيا. ما يميز SomaliREN هو انها بتستخدم بروتوكول MPLS وبروتوكول الاوبن شورت باس فيرست OBS. لذلك نستطيع بالرغم من ضعف الامكانيات SomaliREN قادرة على انها تقدم خدماتها. طيب الغرض من الدراسة كما ذكرنا هو دراسة الامكانات والخدمات والتحديات والفرص المتاحة لSomaliREN. الهدف الأول إننا تعرفنا على البيانات التحتية، والهدف الثاني تعرفنا على أعداد المشاركين في شبكة البحث والتعليم سدرين والشبكات المناظرة، وأيضا تعرفنا على الخدمات المقدمة من شبكة البحث والتعليم مقارنة مع الخدمات المقدمة من الشبكات النظيرة. والهدف الرابع كان هو استكشاف التحديات والفرص المتاحة لشبكة البحث والتعليم. So I can say it in English so that it can be clear. So the study has 4 objectives. The first objective is we wanted to recognize the infrastructure of the network, and the second is how much is the members of the network, and the third objective we also identified the service that provide from the our network, and we compare it with the other network. And the fourth objective is we explore the challenges and the opportunities for our network. So عشان لنحقق الأهداف دي قمنا طرحنا 4 أسئلة. ال4 أسئلة دي هي كل سؤال بيعبر عن الأوبجكتيف المعني. طيب المنهجية بتاعت البحث كانت كالآتي: كانت إننا جمعنا بيانات عن شبكة البحث والتعليم، وجمعنا بيانات عن شبكة البحث والتعليم النظيرة، بعد ذاك عملنا تحليل مقارن. So this is we can based on our mind, this is our objective on the study. What we have done is we collect the data from Sudrin, and we also collect the data from the other NRENs in the region, I mean the available data. Then we have done a comparative study and we can see what are the results. بالنسبة للعينة بتاعتنا كانت 14 NREN من Ubuntu Alliance و20 NRENs من AfREN. الآن we have done we compare Sudrin against 14 NRENs in the Ubuntu Alliance and the other 20 in AfREN, so that we can see and we can explore the future. بالنسبة للنتائج الآن الباشمهندس وليد محمد مبارك يقوم بتقديم النتائج.
السلام عليكم، تحياتي للجميع بمختلف مقاماتهم السامية، وتحية خاصة للي هو في المغرب. واضح الصوت كده؟ تحية للجميع وتحية خاصة للمغرب. طيب حسب النتائج اللي احنا في السودان، في سودرين بنستاجر خدمات الاتصال والانترنت عبر شبكات الالياف الضوئيه من مزودي الخدمه في السودان، دي كانت مشكله كبيره في بدايه التكوين بتاع سودرين في 2001. ده كان سؤال كبير، هل نحن حنرمي الدارك فايبر بتاعنا ولا حنستخدم الفايبر بتاع شركات الاتصالات؟ وحتى تم حسمها بانه التعليم العالي أو التعليم بصورة عامة والبحث مفروض يكون معني بالمحتوى، وبالنسبة للشبكات مفروض يترك الأمر للجهات المختصة بها. سودرين بتعتمد في الربط الشبكة على شركتين، سوداتيل وكنار. احنا عندنا 4 شركات في السودان، سوداتيل، كنار، MTN، والشركة الرابعة ما متذكرة. طيب، وعندنا 3 مراكز بيانات، ما 2 زي ما قال بابكر الكبير. احنا نعتمد على مركز بيانات التعليم العالي، ومركز بيانات جامعة السودان، وفي مركز بيانات المركز البيانات القومي، ده بنعتمد فيه في الهوستنج. دي الدراسة تحت المقارنة لشبكات البحث والتعليم كانت ل 17 شبكة. هم احنا خلصناهم، لأنه أنا في حاجة لازم أقول هنا مهمة شديد. البيانات دي احنا اعتمدنا في انه جمعناها من الانترنت، من المواقع بتاعت الشبكات دي، ومن المواقع بتاعت اسرين ووكرن. فاي معلومات هي ما صحيحه معناتها هي غير معروضه في الانترنت. طيب، ده الشيء وصلنا له. يعني نحن بالنسبه للاعداد بتاعت المشتركين لقينا انه تونس هي الاعلى. تونس تقريبا عندها 400 قريب 450 مشترك، ولقينا اليمن هي الأضعف، عندها 4 مشتركين فقط حسب ما موضوع في الإنترنت. والخريطة بتاعت البيانات دي بتوضح تونس هي ماخذة اللون الأحمر اللي هو أعلى درجة، وبعدها جنوب أفريقيا والمغرب نمرة 2، بعد ذاك السودان وأثيوبيا وكم دولة، وفي دول ثانية كانت تحت المتوسط بتاعنا كان للعينة كان 124 عضو في الشبكة المعنية. ففي 7 أو في تقريبا 8 شبكات كانت أعلى من المتوسط، وفي 9 شبكات كانت أقل من المتوسط. بعد ذاك جمعنا في السؤال الثالث كان الخدمات المقدمة نحن حزمناها في 9 خدمات، اللي هي خدمات التعليم، خدمات البحث، خدمات المحتوى الرقمي، وخدمات الربط الشبكي، الإنترنت، الاستضافة، الحوسبة السحابية، والخدمات الإدارية. الخدمات الإدارية دي مهمة نحن بالنسبة لنا في السودان والشبكات اللي بتشبهنا، لأنه ما ممكن احنا نقدم خدمات بتاع التعليم وبحث تكون عالية المستوى وفي نفس الوقت تكون
إضاءات سريعة.
تمام. طيب
الدراسة راح تكون متوفرة على الويب سايت
حاضر.
للجميع.
أعلى حاجة ظهرت لنا الإنترنت كانت 18% من الخدمات، وبعد الكونكتيفيتي أضعف حاجة كانت عندنا الخدمات الإدارية. نمر من الشبكة دي. طيب عندنا أهم حاجة الجزء الأخير ده اللي هو التحديات بتاعتنا. نحن كان في السودان دايرين ننشئ مراكز بيانات موزعة distributed data center ومبنية على التقنية بتاعت الفوق كومبيوتينج، ودايرين نحدث البنيات التحتية بتاعتنا. الفرصة الأولى هو الحصول على الإنترنت منخفض التكلفة، وبفتكر AfREN وأوبونتو نحن أساسا في الشبكتين ممكن يساعدونا في الموضوع، عشان كده خاطينه فرصة. وزيادة الاستفادة من المصادر المفتوحة، نحن كل الأنظمة حقتنا تقريبا مصادر مفتوحة، حتى على مستوى الهاردوير شغالين SDN، وحتى في الفاير وول مستخدمين الBF Sense، يعني ما مستخدمين أجهزة بتاع الشركات. بعد ذاك اهم حاجه دايرين نوصل لها، نحن دايرين نعمل ناب خاصه بينا، ناشونال اكسس بوينت، عشان نقدر نربط ال4 شبكات ديل مع بعض. واخر حاجه دايرين نعمل CDN كونتنت ديليفري نتورك خاصه بشبكه سودرين، والان احنا ماشيين فيها، وبرضه هنستخدم فيها الاوبن سورس، هنستخدم الفيرنيش او الورنيش كبلاتفورم. شكرا جزيلا.
المهندس والدكتور بوبكر. أخيرا وليس آخرا last but least Mr. Mohamed Al-Habbal from Syria, from Sharon, from the Syrian Virtual University, to give us a brief. Thank you very much.
السلام عليكم. أول شيء بتشكر عسرا على الاستضافة الكريمة، وأخواننا في مصر على الاستضافة الكريمة أيضا، والوقت الممتع اللي حصلنا عليه. Today we will talk about my university, a Syrian Virtual University, which is a Syrian public state university established by the Presidential Decree 25 in the year 2002. This is the year 20 for our university. We will talk first about studying at SVU. We have 3 main faculties. The first one is the Faculty of Information Technology and Communication. We have many branches like ITE, Information Technology Engineering, Bachelor in Communication Technology, and we have masters such as Master in Web Technology, Bioinformatics, and this year we have 2 new masters which are Networking Technology and Computer Science, and again we have the PhD in IT. It was in this year, in the year 2022. The second faculty is the Faculty of Management Science. We have also masters in MBA and PhD in Administration. The third faculty is Faculty of Humanities, which have Bachelor in Law, Bachelor in Maths, Educational Diploma, and 3 masters. Syrian Virtual University is 100% online university. It started in the year 2000. Here we can see that in the year 2080 we have about 10 or 12,000 students. Now we have 50,000 students. COVID was an opportunity for the students to register in our university. We will talk here about the certified virtual learning model. We have the online session, virtual classroom, assignment research. We use SCORM and electronic books, references. Here we can see our pedia. We put all our books open for all the students and for the other students outside the university. Here we can see some of them, and we have our own library in different branches. Now we'll talk about electronic system in SVU. First of all, we have our portal, we have the student information system, and we have e-payments, and we have Moodle as an LMS. We use most of our systems are open source, and the others we have already it's developed in-house. We have our programs. Most of them are Syrian programs, so we try to not use any foreign systems. We have even the email systems. This is our portal, and this is our SVU exam system, and here we can see our virtual classroom, which is an Indian one, this one, but it's an old one. But this virtual classroom is amazing because of now you can, at the same time, we have 1,500 students. They have online sessions at the same time. So you need a big bandwidth. So when you know our infrastructure in Syria is not that good. So this virtual classroom for 1 hour session, you need just 1 megabits per second bandwidth, and the volume of the 1 hour is just 10 megabyte, just 10 megabyte for 1 hour. This is LMS Moodle. It's everyone know Moodle. This is also a request system. It's document management system. It's an open source document management system. It's called Process Maker. Most of our students, they can apply for any documents online. They don't need to come to the university. This year, again, we have an e-payment. We have an agreement with 12 banks and 2 mobile companies. Now we'll talk about telecenters in Syria. Telecenters means exam center. We have around 15 telecenters. This year we opened that in Dara, in Hasaka. Their city were closed because of the war. Now we could open it again. And we have outside Syria, again, in Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, UAE, Sudan, Saudi Arabia. We have in Iraq, in Erbil, in Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, and in Turkey, in Istanbul. In Europe, we have telecenters in Germany, Austria, Moscow, and now in Netherlands, at the first of the year 2022. Here we can see again this year we opened new telecenters in Damascus. In Damascus, what the capacity just 150 PCs. Now we have 350, and the other cities are like that. But I want to talk about our center in the jail. We open here. You can see. This is the main telecenters in Damascus University. We opened this one, and here we can, in the jail, we have these telecenters. So we have now around 200 students. They can study inside the jail, and they can have the chance to study all of our here in Egypt. This is our center in Egypt. Is in the Al-Qarya Zakiya, the smart village. This is our center in Egypt. About training in SVU, we have already what LLC Long Life Center, Lifelong Learning Centers. We have courses in communication administration project. All of them are online as well. Now here, we try the role of SVU supporting digital content. We have a conference in February about digital transforming, and we have another one, is Arabic digital content competition. Some projects we are involved in. The first one is Stem Cells Department Automation Project in Children's Hospital. As a university, we can execute projects in other public departments, such as Children's Hospital. We make all the infrastructure for the stem cells department and make all the software for this project. The other project, we have many projects, but just two of them, is Subol. This is like on open courses, such as Coursera, Idrak. We are trying to do something similar to those projects. Thank you.
Mohamed, and by this we come to the end of this session. I would like to thank our distinguished speakers and thank you all for your patience. We don't have time for questions. I guess we can network during the dinner. It will be at 7. So please feel free to reach any of our distinguished speakers and communicate with them. Thank you all.